So I'm doing a tour of my friends at Swift Creek Nursery's pot and pot tree area. They actually do some shrubs in here as well. By pot and pot, I mean this 15-gallon plant is being grown kind of in the ground. There's a 15-gallon sleeve in the ground, and then that pot goes. The plant can just be pulled right out. It's actually in an individual pot, but it looks like it's being grown in the ground. You can see that a little bit better over here with these river birches. You see how that is basically a socket in the ground, and they have individual irrigation. And this keeps them from having to winterize them, because it's really the roots that are in jeopardy in the wintertime to the cold. And it also holds them up, because trees are kind of a pain in a windy open field like a nursery typically is. They're falling over constantly and the fertilizer's falling out. So that's the reason for this. These gold Mop Cypress are really beautiful over here, and they've done a great job with those. This is that Golden Falls redbud that I've put in my backyard at my house. Keep in mind, I'm shooting this video in October, and so these leaf out in the spring. They're bright gold, and they stay gold for most of the summer. By now, they're a little bit tired. It's not far from them losing their leaves, and then they bloom in the late winter along the naked stems of the plant from top to bottom, and then leaf back out gold like that. These are some heritage river birches right here, and really nice triple trunked river birch. I had heritage at my old house before I moved. Coming on up here, I believe these are the next thing up here, some Zelkovas right here on the left, which is a good city tree. They get gigantic, but yeah, this is green vase Zelkova. You can see why it's called green vase. It grows in a vase shape up at the top. The sun may be tricky trying to shoot right now, but great tree, and a great tree in an urban space because the limbs go up and out rather than down into your face. Let's see. Moving on up, he's got some wax myrtles in 15-gallon pots in his pot and pot section right here. That's a native shrub. This is what I think is Spartan junipers right here on the right, if I'm not mistaken. This is a good juniper for a screening space. Keep in mind on conifers, I talked about this in the October update video. They will thin a little bit this time of year, and it's not unusual in the fall. Also gets a little dry in the fall sometimes, and that can cause part of that. Here's a better close-up of these wax myrtles, which are native throughout the southeast. There's some Camellia sasanquas out here in the pot and pot area as well. These don't have any buds on them. I think they probably were pruned at some point during the season, and I don't see any flower buds on them, but they're nice big plants, and they'll definitely bloom next year. Let's see what red bud this is. It's a little harder to tell. This is just regular Cercis canadensis, which is the native red bud. These will bloom kind of a pinkish red color in the late winter, and absolutely nothing wrong with the species without doing one of the purple foliage or yellow foliage hybrids. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that plant at all. These are Carolina Sapphire Arizona Cypress is what they look like. These are newly planted ones, but they get quite big. Oh, there's some slightly larger ones a little further up. I'll show you right now. Just past this, we can see them, that blue foliage on them. And the deer, don't mess with these. If you grow Eastern Arborvitae, if you have deer and you grow Eastern Arborvitae like Emerald or DeGroots or something, the deer will mess with them. This one's got a really strong fragrance to it, and it has that blue-green foliage on it throughout the season. There's an oak here, which look absolutely fantastic, and I'm not actually sure what variety that is. One of the more this is probably forest pansy. This is pretty typical of forest pansy redbud right here. It leaves out purple in the spring, looks absolutely fantastic all season. By the time we get around to September, October, the leaves are a little tired and they've greened up, and then they lose the leaves. Great plant though, and one of the most colorful ornamental trees you can have. It does get pretty wide, and so if you if you want one of those, you need to leave a little bit of, as much width as height. You know, you can get 20 by 20. He's got some beautiful standard gold mop cypress right here, grown as standards, and standards means a single trunk, or a shrub grown as a tree. See it right here, really nice, kind of Dr. Seuss looking right there. As we move on up, there's some willow oaks right here that look great. It's a native oak. Some more of those. I think these are actually Blue Point junipers. I was about to say these were more Spartans, but almost certainly this is Blue Point juniper right here. Not everything in this pot and pod area is tagged. And then there's some more Camellia sasanquas right here. I'm going to go to another row and show you some other things here. So on the other edge of that row I was on, there are actually some Flamethrower red buds over here. Still showing some great color. I mean, we're October, so again, you know, most of the color on these. I showed this earlier in the season, did a whole video at Denny Warner's house who bred these. This is Crimson Candles, Camellia. This is one of the few camellias, it doesn't matter what time of year it is, I can tell this variety. It's got a really narrow pointed leaf, one of the strongest growing camellias, and just very long bloomed. They're budded up like crazy. Beautiful, beautiful plants right there. I don't know what these spirals look like in Eastern Arborvitae. They're likely emerald that were cut into these spirals right here. I hope you can see that because we're looking back into the sun a little bit, but they look great. But I think that's emerald Arborvitae that's cut into a spiral. And then right here, I think this is just more forest pansy red buds that have greened up on us a little bit, just because they're about to drop their leaves. And then there's some more of those spirals that I believe are, again, emerald Arborvitae that's been cut into spirals. One more thing on that same row, these are skip laurels right here, and these are as nice a skip laurel as I've ever seen. They're about 4.5, 5 feet tall. They're just really, really, really nice. These are actually kind of hard to grow on the East Coast with our humidity, but these look absolutely fantastic. So starting on another row here, there's some really nice little gem magnolias in 15-gallon pots in this pot and pot section. Over here, some more of those heritage birches, but in 25-gallon containers instead of 15s. Nice green giant arborvitae. I see some more coming a little further up this row. Here's a red maple, and what you'll notice in a red maple, if you're shopping for red maples in the fall in containers, you really can't judge the fall color. There's a little bit of fall color coming on these, but for whatever reason, they just never, I think it's, you know, just the constricted roots in the pot or whatever, they never put on a big show in a container. So I wouldn't judge, you know, I would judge a nice, you know, straight trunk, nice canopy on the top, you know, that's branching's well developed, not big gaps in the branching, that kind of thing. As to buying your red maple, and then in the ground it'll be fine. In the future it'll have plenty of that nice red growth or nice red fall color that you're looking for. Let's see, another variety here on the left. Lots and lots of new varieties of red maples, it seems like every year. And then more willow oaks here. Willow oaks have the small leaves instead of the big leaves, and some people don't like that, but they're the most oaky looking oak, if that makes any sense to me. They just an 80-year-old willow oak is about as beautiful as anything. Live oak's probably my favorite, you know, beautiful old oaks, but willow oaks are a second to them. These are Deodor Cedars on this side, and Deodor Cedars can look, you know, like something you could keep as a Christmas tree for a while. You know, these things can get 75 or 80 feet tall, and I've seen them that big with trunks that are, you know, 4 feet across, and so keep that in mind. But if you're only going to be in your house for like 10 years, then it's someone else's problem, and go for it, because they're really, really beautiful. That's a joke, by the way. Okay, let me see. There's some Yoshino cryptomeria here. I've shown lots of cryptomeria on the channel over the years. You know, this one can get 75 feet tall, and people use it as a screening plant. And then there's cryptomeria that are, you know, like that dragon prince that I've planted at the house that you can keep 3 feet tall for forever and ever. Another crop of green giant arborvitae, which has probably become the most popular screening plant, kind of the Leyland cypress replacement, really. Here's a typical cherry tree at the beginning of October in North Carolina. They do defoliate super early. That's how I pick them out in October. The trees without leaves, they're the cherry trees. And the more green giants right there on the right, and another crop of little gem magnolias. And I'm going to go down one more row a little bit and show you a couple other things before I wrap this up. Here's a few more cherries. These are actually Okami cherries, and again, you'll see how they're kind of one of the first things to defoliate here in the south. And this Okami right here has decided to bloom. It is one of the earliest blooming cherries every year, but October seems particularly early when February is the normal time, or March. Here's some Kwanzan cherries, and they do tend to hold their leaves a little bit better. I've got a video on my channel for Kwanzan, very big one I had at my old house. Has the double pink flowers on it. A lot of stuff through here. You can see how many, green giants are so popular now. We're probably going to overplant them just like we did leylands, of course. And I do recommend, I got a video on my channel for using different conifers, if you're going to use all conifers, use a mix of conifers. If you want to use leafy evergreens, use a mix of leafy evergreens. So if some disease issue happens, it's not going to wipe out your entire screen. Those are all green giants, and then there's some more those blue point junipers right there, and some more deodors right there, which I've already shown. But you look how many green giants this actually is. I'm going to show you one more thing up here and walking toward that's looks really great, and I was impressed with when I saw walking up here. There's a group of Clayera up here in a 15-gallon pot and pot Clayera. These right here, these are really nice pieces. Most of the green Clayera varieties are going to have this type of new foliage on them, some sort of reddish or pinkish red, new growth all season, and then the growth kind of finishes off dark green. Great for screening, great for using on a corner, on a foundation. Lots of different uses for these Clayera. You've seen me show the variegated Juliet Clayera that I planted in my yard, and then the rest of this line is more green giants again. So thank you very much for watching this video. I thought it was some interesting pieces that they have out here in their pot and pot area at Swift Creek Nursery.